सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणामयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वर मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् तदैक्षत बहुस्यां प्रजायेति तत्तेजो सृजत तत्तेज ऐक्षत बहुस्यां प्रजायेति तदपो सृजत तस्माद् यत्र क्वच शोचति स्वेदते वा पुरुषः स्वेदते वा पुरुषः तेजस एव तत् अध्यापो जायन्ते ता आपः ऐक्षन्त बह्वस्याम प्रजायेमहीति ता अन्नमसृजन्त तस्मात् यत्र क्वच वर्षते तदेव भूयिष्ठमन्नं भवति अद्य एव तत् अन्नाद्यं जायते अद्यन्नाद्यं जायते. ता आपः ऐक्षन्त. The water, meaning the Sat or Devata in the form of water, Aikshanta saw. Bhakya Sasyama, maybe become many. Prajaya Mahiti, maybe be born. Ta Annam Asrujanta, they created Annam. In Bhashakar, Prithvi Lakshanam Annam. Here Annam means Prithvi, the earth. महाभूत प्रस्तावात अन्न शब्देन पृथ्वी लक्ष्यते. महाभूत प्रस्तावात, because prastava, the discussion is of Mahabhuta Panchamahabhuta. Therefore, even though the text says that the waters created Annam, it should mean Prithvi. Tasmat yatra kvacha varshati tadeva bhuvishtam annam bhavati. So the Upanishad shows how Annam is a product of water. Therefore, wherever it rains, that is where plenty of food is there. There Annam means Annam. Annadyam, the eatable food. Vrihiyavade, like the paddy, barley, etc. Then a question was raised on the page 229, last line, Nanu Tejas Pravritishu Ikshanam Na Gamyate or Na Yujyate. Tejas Pravritishu. Here the Upanishad says Tejaha, the element fire, Apaha, the element water, Aikshata, they saw, or Aikshanta. Na yujyate, that is not proper. Because they are not conscious beings, they are not sentient beings. Fire is not a sentient being, water is not a sentient entity. How can they think? How can they see? How can they visualize? How can they deliberate? That can be only on the part of a conscious or a sentient entity. Fire is not sentient, water is not sentient. So how can they see? How do you say they are not sentient? Himsadi pratisheda abhavat. Because when they say that you should not injure living beings, in that the fire or water and other insentient beings are not included. Trasadhikarya anupalamvacha. When a himsa is performed, when we try to injure a living being, there is trasa, fear in that living being. We don't find that fear, etc., in the water or fire. Adi Shabda Akroshanadhyartha. That there is no akrosha, otherwise I said, when you try to hurt a living being, it will scream, it will cry. But we don't find that kind of thing happening with reference to fire or water. Shukadikam gruhyate, there is no grief. Iti. Tatra katham tat teja aikshata ityadi. Meaning teja, apaha are not sentient beings. Then how does the Upanishad say that the element fire saw, the water saw? So the page 230, Bhashyaka said, Naisha dosha. Tesham gaunam ikshitrum upetya pariharate. Bhashyakara says, in a way you are right, but at the same time, your objection is not right. tesham gaunam ikshitritvam. That they saw that seeing is gaunam, is only in a secondary sense, aupacharikam, in a figurative sense, not in the primary sense. Already it was said that when it says that tat teja aikshata, when that fire deliberated or saw, it is only sat or existence or Brahman in the form that fire saw. So it was already said. And still the point is that you should not give up the primary meaning that by Lakshana Vritti we interpret Tejaha as Sat, Apaha as Sat. So even though it says Teja Aikshata, we interpret it as Ap, so Sat Aikshata. So Lakshana Vritti is not right when the primary meaning is applicable. So they want to say that Teja, etc., insentient entities also saw, so it is Pradhanam. Ultimately, they want to bring in Pradhanam. So this is the Sankhya's position, that the primordial matter Pradhanam, that is the creator. कारणगतम ईक्षणम कार्य उपचर्यते कार्य कारण अभेदात. सत और ब्रह्मन इज कारण and this fire, water, etc. are karya. Ikshanam primarily belongs to Sat or Brahman. But then Upacharyate, in a secondary sense, it is said that it also exists karyam in fire, in water, etc. So either you can say karya karana abhedat, seeing the abheda, the non-separated between the cause and effect, you can say that what belongs to cause can be said to belong to effect because the effect and cause are not different. Or mukhi kshitru guna yogadva simha shabdadi shabdvat gaunatvam. Or because this stage or apa also exhibit the attributes or qualities similar to Sat. Sat has some guna, and similar guna is also displayed by the stage apa. What is it? Niyata krama vishishta karya utpadakatvat bhashyakara said. Ikshitru karana parinamatvat tejas pravrutinam. This is one thing. Ikshitru karana parinamatvat tejas pravrutinam. Because tejaha, apaha, they are what? They are the parinama, the modifications of Ikshitru, which is Sat. And as much as the fire, water are described as the effects or karya of Sat, therefore you can say in a secondary way that the Ikshanam or the seeing that actually belongs to Sat in the karya can be upacharikadaya. In a secondary sense, you can say that it also belongs to Karanam, belongs to Karya. Or you can say it is Aupacharik or the Gauna Prayoga. The guna of the quality that belongs to Sat is also found to belong to Teja or Apa. What is that gunam? Ikshitu niyata krama vishishta karya utpadakatvad. Because Ikshitru, the Sat, which is a seer, so it brings about a creation which is well ordered, so well defined order of succession is there, So then Teja is there, Apa, etc. in a well defined order. Similarly also, this Teja also creates in a defined order like Apa, etc. Apa also creates Annam. So the kind of guna or the quality that obtains in Sat also is found to obtain in Teja, Apa, therefore Gauna Prayoga. Simha, the Shabdavat, like some quality that belongs to lion, belongs to a person, you can call him also, he is a lion, in that sense. So Sataheva Ikshituhu Niyatakrama Vishishtakaya Utpadakatvacha. That chakara also is there in another reading. So these two readings are there, two reasons are there. Tejas prabhuti ikshadayo ikshadi duchade. And so Teja, Apa, they also saw as though they saw. Bhutam or abhutam. Abhutamiti Teja adishu abhutam avidyamanam ikshram kalpayitum arapayitum ikshitreva ikshitruti uchyate janvaya. In fact, the ikshram, the seeing, that does not exist in Teja or Apa, is superimposed upon them either by seeing the non-difference of Karya-Karana or by seeing the Guna. Tat arupasya cha prayojanam niyatakram vishishta karyopadakatva jnanamiti bhavaha. That Teja, Apa, both of them create an effect. Teja creates the effect in the form of water and earth. And water creates the effect of earth and subsequent stages. Niyata krama vishishta karyotpadakatvam. That there is that niyata krama, well-defined succession is there, well-defined order of succession is there. Therefore, guna. So, gunata, in a secondary sense, we can say that ikshram also is there in Teja, Apaha. Or it can be bhutam. Bhutam means bhutantaram, abadikam, kalpayitum, utpadayitum, ikshata. For creating water, etc., as though saw. So, Sankhya had a certain intention. So now, continuing, the Tikakara says, Idanim Sankhyasya Asham Prakadayati. The Sankhya by argument has made us say that the ikshram, the seeing, that belongs to fire and water, is in a secondary sense, not in a primary sense. That's what he wants. So that is exactly so that gives him a ground for argument, a room for argument. So having made the Vedantin admit that the ikshram that is in Teja and Apaha is only Aupacharika, in a secondary sense, he says, okay, if you can say that, then why not further? So Sankhya's Asham Prakadayati, his real Ashaya, his real hidden agenda is now revealed, Nanveti. So Vashyakara says, Nanu Satopi Upacharitam Eva Ikshitritvam. So in the Teja, Apa, in the seeing is only in a as though seeing, not a real seeing. Why not in Sat also? So even that Tat Aikshara, that Devata Sat saw, the Sat also as though saw. Why not? If that Aupacharikatvam is there in Teja Apaha, why not Aupacharikatvam also is there in Sat? Tikakara says, Teja Adinam Trasade Bhavena Achetanattva Nisyat Tatra Ikshram Gaunamiti Yuktam. We say that as far as fire, water, and other insentient beings are concerned, we do not find them fear, we do not find them screaming, we do not find grief, etc. And therefore, they are achetana, they are insentient, therefore, the ikshram is gaunam, the seeing is, in a secondary sense, it is quite proper. Satastu pramanantarena achetantu anishya. As far as fire is concerned, it is our experience that it is unconscious or insentient. As far as water is concerned, it is experience that, so by pramanantara, by perception also we know that they are insentient. As far as Sat is concerned, as far as Brahman is concerned, it is not an object of any pramana. Meaning that you can't perceive, there is no way for you to say that Brahman is insentient. On what basis? not perception, not inference. None of these pramanas are in fact applicable to Brahman. Therefore, what Brahman is, only Upanishad can say, we cannot say. Satastu pramanantarena achetanatva anishayat. As far as Sat is concerned, Brahman is concerned, you cannot say that it is insentient, because you don't have any means to say that. Nobody has seen Sat, you can't infer. Bhadak abhavena mukhya. As far as, so even when the Upanishad said, Tat teja aikshara, that teja saw. But then, now that seeing is possible only when teja or fire is sentient. However, the sentience of the fire that is implied by seeing is, however, contradicted by other pramana, by perception. So perception contradicts the sentience in fire. Therefore we have to say that the seeing in fire is only in a secondary sense. But there is nothing to contradict the sentience in Sat. Therefore, you have no ground to say that the seeing in Sat is in a secondary sense. Bhadaka abhavena, there is no bhadaka, there is nothing that contradicts. Therefore, mukhyameva grahyam ikshanam. Ikshanam mukhyameva grahyam. Therefore, ikshanam seeing must be in a primary sense. Na iti Subhashyakara says. Or Anandagiri said here, Satopi gaunam ikshanam upachara praye pathadri shankare. So now there are three ikshanam. Tat sat aikshata, tejaha aikshata, apaha aikshanta. Three are there, right? In that two are gaunam. The teja and apaha are gauna, meaning they are upacharika, secondary sense. So by the majority is upachara. So therefore all of them must be upachara, Upachara praya pathat. Iksham upachara praya pathat. Of the three, the two are upacharika. So it makes sense that all the three must be upacharika. So that's another way of the doubt. Then Anandagiri says, Sannidhe Shabdasya Baliyastvam Upetya Pariharate. So because Sat is in Sannidhi, because Sat in Sannidhi of Teja and Apa, therefore Sat also must be like Teja and Apa, it also must be insentient, therefore Ikshanam is Gaunam. Then the Vedantins know Shabdasya Baliyastvam, Shastra is Baliyastvam. Shabda means here the Veda, the Upanishad, Shastra. What Shastra says is stronger than simply the criterion of vicinity. That you are grouping them all together. Says no, Upanishad says Tadaikshara, and unless you have another means of knowledge to contradict that, you have to accept it in primary sense. So Vashyakara says, Na sat ikshanasya kevala shabdagamyatvat na shakyam upacharitam kalpayadum. Sat ikshanasya kevala shabdagamyatvat. That Sat saw, it deliberated. This is known only through Shabda, meaning Upanishad. Na shakyam upacharitam kalpayitum. Therefore, you do not have any ground to imagine that this ikshanam is upacharitam, is only in a secondary sense. You do not have any ground. For tejaha and apaha, we had a ground. That by perception, we know that they are insentient. How do you say they are insentient? Because there is no pratisheda. Nobody says, do not put out the fire, do not do something with the water. So when they say, do not hurt any living being, in those living beings, fire, water, other insentient beings are not included. When you do something with them, you do not find any fear, any screaming on their part, or as a result of that, there is a grief, etc. You don't find. So it is very evident that they are insentient. And therefore, it is quite alright. But there is no way for you to prove that Sat is insentient. So, Kevala Shabda Gamyatvat, Sat is not an object of perception or inference. Sat is merely to be known through Shabda or through the Upanishad. We do not have any other means of knowledge as far as Sat or existence or Brahman is concerned. Therefore, na shakyam upacharitam kalpayitum. Therefore, you do not have any ground to imagine that the ikshanam on the part of Sat is a secondary science. Says Anandagiri, Tulyam Teja Pravrutiswapi Shabdagamyatvam Ikshanaseti. But the Upanishad says Sat Aikshata, it says Teja Aikshata, Apa also Aikshanta. So, after all this description by Upanishad, so why do you say that the Sat, the Ikshanam of Sat is known through Upanishad? The Ikshanam of Teja and Apa also is known through Upanishad. So that means being known through Upanishad is common, similar to in all the three. Tulyam Teja Pravutishvapi Shabdagamyatvam Ikshanasya. Iti chet, if that is argument, na ityaha, Bhashyakara says. Teja Pravrutinam to Anumiyate Mukhya Ikshana Abhavaha Iti Yuktam Upacharitum Kalpaidum. As far as Teja and fire, others are concerned, it is possible to infer that they are insentient. Therefore, we can arrive at the conclusion that Ikshanam is only in the secondary sense. So that conclusion can be arrived at in case of Tejaha, Apaha, not in case of Sat. Annagiri continues, Vimatam Ikshitru Nabhavati Achetanatvat Kumbhavat iti anumanat anumiyate. Bhashyakara said that Teja and Apa, they do not have Ikshanam. Anumiyate is inferred. On what ground? So Anandagiri gives that anumanam. Vimatam Ikshitru Nabhavati Vimatam Teja, etc. So all of that are not Ikshitru, they are not seers. Achetanatvat, because they are insentient. Kumbhavat, like a kumbha, like a jar, like a pot. Cannot see because pot is, cannot feel because pot is insentient. Similarly, Teja, Apa also are insentient. Therefore, they also cannot have seeing as Ikshanam. Id anumanat Tejo mukhe Jagati Ikshana Sambhavat Tatra Shrutam Tad Aupacharikam Uchidam Ityartha. Therefore, Tejo Mukhe Jagati, the Jagat of the universe that is created from Teja. So Tejo Mukhe, Teja is the first one, Mukhya one. Teja, Apaha, Annam, and subsequent creation is there. So creation is, according to Chhandogya Upanishad, then creation has its beginning in Teja. So Tejo Mukhe Jagati, the creation that begins with Teja or the fire. Ikshana Asambhava. Not only there is no Ikshanam in Teja or fire, but in all the subsequent stages, the whole universe also is insentient. Therefore, nowhere there can be ikshanam or seeing. Tatra shrutam tat aupacharikam uchitam. Therefore, even though Shruti says Teja aikshata, still, because by Anumana we arrive at the conclusion that is an insensation, therefore it's quite proper that we can interpret that ikshanam in Teja as aupacharikam, as only in a secondary sense. Then Sankhya Anumanavastambena Shankate. Alright, so you have by Anumanam, by inference, arrived at a conclusion that Teja Apaha Ikshanam Aupacharikam, then Anumanavastambena restored into inference. Sankhya now wants to say that Nanu Shankate. Or as Narayanan said, Sat Achetanam Upadana Karanatvat Mrudvaditi. That's the Anumanam. So now Sankhya gives its own Anumanam to establish that Sat also is insentient. Because Upanishad presents Sat or existence or Brahman as a material cause, understand? Just as clay is the material cause of the parts, etc., so also Sat is the material cause of the universe. Because as Bhashyakar explained, that a person sees that a kulala or a pot maker has spread out the clay. Then he goes out on the village and returns in the afternoon and sees that where formerly there was clay, now there are all kinds of pots and pans. So he says, all these pots and pans were clay before their creation. So what does this statement mean? It means that the clay is a material cause of the pots and pans. Similarly, Upanishad says, Sadeva Somya idam agrasit ekameva dvityam. This universe before its creation was Sat, one without a second. It means what? Sat is the Upadana Karana. So Upanishad here presents Sat or existence as Brahman is the Upadana Karana, material cause. Something very unique. All other traditions present Brahman or God as Nimitta Karanam, as creator, as a maker. But here the Upanishad presents God also not only as maker but also as material. Not only as Nimitta Karanam but also as Upadana Karanam, Avinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Alright, Sankhya says that Upanishad says that Sat is the Upadana Karanam, material cause. Then you apply the Anumanam. What is the Anumanam? It says Sat Achetanam Upadana Karanatvat Mrudvaditi. Sat of Brahma also is insentient because it is material cause, like clay is a material cause for pots, etc. And the rule is that material cause is always insentient. In the creation of a pot, for example, the Nimitta Karanam, efficient cause is the pot maker. Upadana Karanam, material cause is the clay. Of that, the rule is that the efficient cause must be a sentient entity or a conscious being like a pot maker, whereas the material cause is always insentient like clay. So our experience is that everywhere the material cause is always insentient. And Sat is the material cause of the universe, therefore it must be insentient. So Upadana Karanatvat Mrudvat iti Achetanatva Nishchayat. So by Anumanam we arrive at this conclusion that Sat is also Achetanam, is insentient. Sat Ikshanapi Gaunamiti Ashankate. Therefore, Ikshanam, seeing in case of Sat also is Gaunam, is also in a secondary sense. Iti Ashankate Nanumiti. So Bhashyakara says, Nanu Satope Mrudvata karanatvat achetanatvam shakyam anumatum. Nanu brutvat karanatvat. Like brut is the material cause, sat also is material cause, therefore, so brut is achetanam, insentient, so also sat is achetanam. Iti shakyam anumatum. You say that as far as sat is concerned, there is no other pramanam. Kevala shabda gamyatvat. As far as sat is concerned, we can know it only from shabda or from shastra. He says, no. Sat also you can understand from anumanam. Because sat is material cause, and like any other material cause, sat also should be insentient. So by anumanam we can arrive at understanding of sat also. It is shakyam anumatam. So the Tikakara says in line 29, Satah achetanatve kim tata. Alright? Now you say that Sat or Brahman also is insentient. Then what is it? Idyashangya pradhanameva tata. So Sankhya says that the Upanishad uses the word Sat for pradhanam. Real cause is pradhanam, the primordial matter. What is pradhanam? The samyavastha of all the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. When all these three gunas are in samyavastha, they are in complete balance. At that time, there is no activity at all. When that balance gets disturbed because of karma or whatever reason, then it becomes prakruti. Prakarshena kruti yogyatvat prakrutihi. Then it is ready. Prakriti is material cause. It is ready for creation. And the word Sankhya says, by Sat we should understand pradhanam, the primordial matter. So it says Ataha, or says Anandagiri, Achetanasya katham ikshamiti ashankyaha. If Sat is achetanam, how can there be ikshanam? How can there be seeing in that? So it says Ataha. Ataha pradhanasya eva achetanasya satah chetanarthatvad niyata kalakrama vishishta karyotpadakatvacha aikshata iva aikshata iti shakyam anumatum upacharitam eva ikshanam. Ataha pradhanasyeva satah. What is sat? Nothing but pradhanam. So there is a pradhanasya eva also, but here we have eva, I have corrected it. So pradhanasya eva chetanasya satah. So sat is also achetanam, insentient, nothing but pradhanam. Chetanarthatvat. Now, this is the nature of an insentient thing, then it is always meant for the purpose or benefit of a conscious or sentient entity. Like a house is an insentient entity, so it is meant for the purpose of the owner of the house. A car is an insentient entity, is meant to serve the purpose of the driver. Everything that we see in the universe, everything is insentient, is all meant to serve the purpose of a conscious being. It may be either a human being or any living being. Whatever it is, serves a purpose for a conscious being. This is the rule. So they say that this pradhanam, primordial matter also serves the purpose of Purusha. Purusha means the Atma, the consciousness or conscious being. And Pradhanam, a Prakriti, serves the purpose of the Purusha. Purusha has two kinds of desires, bhoga and apavarga. Bhoga is the enjoyment of the material pleasures, apavarga is moksha. Therefore, the Prakriti creates for Purusha whatever he needs for bhoga and apavarga. Therefore, the creation in the universe serves two purposes, either for bhoga, for enjoyment, or apavarga, for moksha. For most people, it is the object of enjoyment. For some people, however, the experience of the universe creates vairagya, and that's how it leads to moksha. So, therefore, it says here, satah chetanarthatvat acetanasya satah chetanarthatvat. So, Sat also created this universe for the purpose of Purusha. Call it Sat, call it Pradhanam, has created the universe for the purpose of Purusha. And then it does very systematically. In Maya also, that is in order. So, Niyata, Kala, so well-defined time, Krama, order, Vishishta Karya Utpadakatvat. So, Karya is Jagat. Jagat consists of or characterized by well-defined time and succession. Everything happens in succession, everything happens in time. Succession is cause and effect. So time, cause and effect, all of this we find in the universe. So that systematic creation is carried out by Sat or Pradhanam here for the purpose of Purusha. Therefore, Aikshata iva Aikshata. So just as I said earlier, a conscious being, whenever he does something systematically. Like a pot maker is a conscious being. When he creates a pot, he makes it systematically. In his action, there is a well-defined succession. He does, for creating a pot also, he follows certain procedure. He succeeds, so he does one thing after the other in a well-defined manner. So whenever there is a creation in well-defined manner, you can say that the creator is a conscious being. So universe also is a creation in a well-defined manner. Therefore, the creator must be a conscious being. So even though Sat is not a conscious being entity, still you can superimpose the sentience in that, and so Aikshata iva Aikshata. Looks like matter is intelligent. So when the scientists say that the matter evolves, then it can evolve only when it is intelligent. Then there is natural selection. The matter knows how to select and evolve. So Sankhya sees intelligence in matter. The science also sees intelligence in matter. So when intelligence is there, you can say that it as though saw. So seeing, which primarily belongs to an intelligent being, can be superimposed upon this matter also, because the matter also seems to function in an intelligent manner. Therefore, Aikshata eva Aikshata shakyam anumatum. Therefore, it is possible to infer that Sat, which is nothing other than Pradhanam also, as though saw. Upacharitam eva ikshanam, and therefore, ikshanam, the seeing in case of Sat also is upacharitam, is also in a secondary sense. This is explained by the Tikakara. Pradhana pakshe ikshanam na sambhavati iti ashankya. We say that how can Pradhana is insentient? How can it see? It says not possible. Then he says tasyapi chetanarthatvena chetanatva aropat. Because that the Pradhanam functions for the Chetana, therefore in a secondary sense you can say it is Chetanam. Since Pradhanam is meant for Chetanam, therefore there is a secondary sense you can say it is also Chetanam, because it works for Chetanam. or Purvokta Guna Yogadva, or because there is Guna. Pradhanam displays this systematic creation like a conscious being, therefore also Teja Adinam Iva Aupacharikam Tat. Therefore, this Ikshanam in Sat also is secondary like that in Teja, etc. Chetana Sattvaditi. Anumata means kalpayitam, is imagined. Okay. Katham achetane chetanavat upachara. Next question is, we should ask, how do you say that? So, achetane chetana dharma upacharasya loke drushtatvad. See, in our day-to-day life also, very often, we use the expression meaning that even unconscious entity also acts in a conscious manner. So sometimes in our day-to-day saying also, we superimpose the idea of Chetanatva, consciousness or inconscious being. Where is it? So example is given. Says Bhashya, Dushtasya loke achetane chetanavata upacharah yatha kulam pipatishate iti tadvat satopi syat. Dushtasya loke achetane chetanavad upacharah. Sometimes we find in our loka, means our daily life also, that we describe an insentient entity as though it is sentient. Sometimes we describe an insentient entity although as though it is sentient. How? Yatha kulam pipatishati. Pipatishati is what? Patitum ichchati. The kulam is bank. The bank is about to collapse. So sometimes you see, if you are standing and if you are there in Rishikesh, sometimes you find what you call landslides. In monsoon you have seen land sliding, right on the opposite bank of Ganga, the land is sliding. The rocks are falling. The earth is falling. So you can say the earth is falling. Earth is falling is what? As the earth itself is falling, So as the earth is a sentient entity, this earth is falling. So here the bank is about to collapse. You can see it is going to collapse. So as the bank is collapsing, bank has the kartrutvam or the doership of collapsing as though it is a conscious entity. So sometimes it says that. Similarly, even though the pradhanam or sat is not a conscious entity, in a secondary sense we can say that tadvatiti. Tadvas satopi syat, tadvas satopi achetanatvevi syat. So even though sat is achetanam, still it can also think as though. Says Anandagiri, Atma Shabda Avashtambena Pariharati. Bhashyakara says, no, it cannot, because that what is called Sat also is later on called Atma. Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. Sat is explained further. Tat Satyam, that Sat is Satyam, it is real, it is truth. So Atma, and that is a self. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, and that's what you are. So the Upanishad does not merely stop at the description here, but it also continues to explain what Sat is, that Sat is truth and is Atma. And Atma is definitely consciousness, no question about it. Even the Sankhya also accepts Atma as Purusha, and Purusha is definitely a conscious being. There is no question about it. As far as Sankhyas are concerned, anyway, Vaisheshikas may have a different view, but then Sankhyas say that Purusha is Chaitanyam, so it is Nirvikara Chidvapuhu. Purusha is Nirvikara Chidvapuhu, is of the nature of consciousness, changeless consciousness. That is the nature of the self. That's what Sankhya says. So we have to argue against them on their own ground, understand? Otherwise they won't be convinced. A person will be convinced only when you have to go to his ground and defeat him. So when you talk with Vaisheshikas, then the line of argument will be accepting Vaisheshika position. This is what you say, therefore this is what it is. But you also say that. You also say that Atma is conscious being, and the Upanishad is Atma. So how can you say it is unconscious, So that is how, if Vaisheshika calls Atma unconscious, then we will argue in a different way. So Vashyakara says, Na tat satyam sa atma iti tasmin atmopadeshat. Says no, it is not possible that you can superimpose insentiency upon Sat, calling it Pradhanam, because tat satyam sa atma iti tasmin atmopadeshat. As far as Sat is concerned, in Sat, atmopadeshat, Sat is called Atma, is called the self. How? Tat satyam sa atma. You come later on. That Tat means Jagat Karanam Sat. So Sat, which is the cause of creation, is Satyam. Sadeva Satyam. Sat alone is truth. So here there is an equation, Sat Satyam. It's a very important equation. Satyam is avadhitam, is truth, or the real. And it says, Tat Satyam. What is Tat? Tat means that Sat. We said earlier. That Sat alone is Satyam. Existence is the truth. Existence is the truth. And existence is self-revealing. So Sat is Chit also. Chit is Ananda also. Satchit Ananda is Satyam. That is truth. Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam. And that is Brahman. And therefore Sat is Brahman. Anyway, here, Tat Satyam Saatma iti tasmin Atmopadeshat. Because Upanishad clearly says that Sat is Atma. And therefore, says the Narayanandra, Prakrutam Sat Ikshitru Ikshada Idyatra Tat Shabdena Paramrashya. So what is Tat Satyam? What is Tat? Tat is Sarvanama. Tat means that. What is that? So this Narayana explains here, Prakrutam Sat. So generally you employ the pronoun that for something which is already under discussion. You can say that, provided you only refer to it, You can't use that unless it is referred to earlier. So to that place I went. Which place? You can't start your discussion, I went there. There means where? No. First you say that is Rishikesh, is like this, and that is where I went. So only when there is a context, then only you can use a pronoun, otherwise you can't use a pronoun. So also, Tat Satyam, that is truth. What is that? So Prakrutam Sat. Sat is the Prakrutam. So what is subject matter is Sat or existence. Sadeva Somme Idamagrasit. Ikshata Tat Aikshata Idyatra Tat Shabdena Paramrushya. So that Sat alone is brought to our mind by the pronoun Tat. Tasmin Atma Shabda Prayogat. Tat Satyam. That Sat is Satyam. With reference to Sat, there is Atma Shabda Prayoga. The use of the word Atma. Acetanatve Satah. Shveta means Satah. Acetanatve Shvetaketo. Acetanasya Atmatvena Upadesha Ayogat. Tattvamasi, you are that. If Sat is Achetanam, if Sat is insentient, then Shvetagata is also insentient, isn't it? Tattvamasi. The Sat alone is referred to as Tat. And the Upanishad says, Tattvamasi, that thou art. If Sat is Achetanam, unconscious, insentient, then the teacher says, Hey Shvetagata, you are insentient. So, Shvetagata Chetanasya Atmatvena Upadesha Ayogat. Shvetagata is definitely Chetana. And you cannot say you are Sat because Sat is Achetanam. How can Sat, the unconscious, be Atma of Shvetagata? Na Chetanam Pradhanam Sat Shabdavacham. Never. Pradhanam Achetanam cannot be the meaning of the word Sat. Na iti. So Bhashyakara is Na Tat Satyam Sa Atma Hati Tasmin Atma Upadeshat. Idam Upalakshanam. This is Upalakshanam, stands for other things. Elsewhere also in Chhandogya, more than the one place, the word Atma is used for Sat. Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya. Why? As a Jiva Atma, I will enter these three elements. So there also Sat says, as Atma, I will enter the three elements. Aitad Atmavidam Sarvam. That Sat is the Atma of the entire universe. Iti ayamapi Atma Upadesho Drashtavya. There also Atma, Sat is taught to be Atma. But what Bhashyakara says is very effective because Tattvamasi. You are that Atma. And Shvetagata certainly not an unconscious entity, he is a conscious entity. Sarvopsen, the discussion continues. Says Anandagiri, Atmapadeshopi pradhane gauno bhavishyati iti shankate. He keeps on stretching and stretching. He says, Atmapadeshopi. Even word Atma also can be used in a secondary sense. Even word Atma also can be used in a aupacharika way, in a secondary sense, not always in primary sense. Or as Narayanananda says, Sarvopi Atma Upadesha Upacharita Eva. So wherever word Atma is used for Sat is only in a secondary sense. Nacha Upacharitena Atma Shabdena Mukhyam Chetanato Siddhyed. Suppose we argue that our Atma also is only in a secondary sense, then you can't say that Atma is necessarily a sentient conscious entity, because in a secondary sense you can use some what is not Atma also can be called Atma sometimes. So Bhashya says, and the Bhashya says, Atmopadeshopi Upacharitaha iti chet. Suppose we say that Atmopadeshopi Upacharitaha. Even the Upadesha, instruction of Atma also there, Atma is in a secondary sense. Suppose we say that. Shankamiva Vivranoti explains. Tameva Shankam Drishtanta Dvara Vivranoti. His own doubt he explains with an illustration. Yatha iti. Yatha Mama Atma Bhadrasenaha iti Atmanaha Sarvarthakarini Anatmani Atmopacharaha Tadvata Yatha Mama Atma Bhadrasenaha. This is my Atma. Says the Tika Bhadraseno Nama Kaschid Rajamatya. So there is a king. He is an Amatya. He is a prime minister who is named Bhadrasena. Tasmin Swatma Bhinne Raja Atmatmam Upacharati. That Bhadrasena does everything for the king. Bhadrasena knows exactly what the king wants and what he needs. Everything he does without him being told. The king is so pleased with him. He says, he's my self, he's my Atma. So it is not uncommon. Thus to use the word Atma for somebody who is not Atma, it is done sometimes. So Bhadrasena Nama Kasid Rajamatya Tasmin Swatma Vinna. It is very clear that Raja is not Bhadrasena, Bhadrasena is not Raja, and still in Bhadrasena, who is not his own self, the Raja says, this is my Atma. Raja Atmatvam Upacharati Ityartha. So Raja uses the word Atma even for that person. So Atmana Sarvartha Karini, someone who does everything for his own self. Anatmane, even though he is Anatma, Upachara, Atmatma Upachara. And this is Atma. Okay. But why not? So but Atma also can be sometimes used in a secondary sense. So why not in this Upanishad, but Atma also is in a secondary sense? So why not? Then the Tika says, Anandagiri says, Idam pariharan asmin atma-upadesho gauno na bhavati tan nishthasya moksha-upadeshadri uttaramaha na iti. Idam pariharan. What is idam? Pradhanasya sat shabdavachyatvam. That prasat means pradhanam, pariharan. Refuting that. Atma-upadesho asmin atma-upadesho gauno na bhavati. With reference sat, the use of the word atma is not in the secondary sense. Why? Tan nishthasya. Because the one who is nishtha, devoted to sat, one who is devoted to sat, tan nishthasya moksha upadeshat. Further, not only does the Upanishad use the word Atma for Sat, but Upanishad says that one who is devoted to Sat or abiding in Sat becomes liberated. So moksha upadesha. Therefore, so tan nishthasya, one who abides, so this is a Brahma Sutra. Tan nishthasya moksha upadeshat is Brahma Sutra. That also we'll see. So one who abides in Atma or Sat he becomes liberated. Therefore, then it has to be in a primary sense. Or says the other Tikakara here in line 37, Atma tattvamasi Shvedaketo sadatmatvam upadishya. So the teacher says to Shvedaketu that Sat is Atma. So you are the nature of Sat. Tasya sadatmanishtasya. And one who is devoted to or abiding in Sat, Tavadeva chiramati mokshopadeshat. He becomes liberated. He has to wait only as long as the body exists because of prarabdha, and then he becomes one with Sat. Mokshasya samyak jnana sadhyatvat. It is well known that even Sankhya also accept that apavarga or moksha can be attained only by true knowledge, not by the false knowledge. So if Atma is not real Atma, that means then you know it as Atma, that is a false knowledge. If Sat is not the Atma, and if you know it as Atma, it is false knowledge. And false knowledge cannot lead to moksha. That a Sankhya will accept. The true knowledge alone will lead to moksha. So if knowledge of Atma leads to moksha, and Atma is Sat, knowledge of Sat leads to moksha, then that is a true knowledge. That means Sat must be Atma, cannot be other than Atma, otherwise it will not be true knowledge. Moksha samyak jnana sadhyatvat sadatmatvam na upacharitam. Therefore, the Atmatvam in Sat is not secondary. So Vashyaka na iti. Na sadasmi iti Sat Satya Visandhasya Tasya Tavadeva Chiram Iti Mokshopadeshat. Says no, the word Atma cannot be in a secondary sense of Sat because Sat Asmi iti. One who knows I am Sat. So you are Tattvamasi Shvedaketu, you are that. Then how does Shvedaketu respond? I am that. So when you are Brahman, he says I am Brahman. He says you are Sat, then I am Sat. Sat Asmi iti. Sat Satya Abhisandhi means here the determinate ascertainment. That Sat is Satyam. The Sat alone is Satyam, one who has that conviction. So one who has a conviction that Sat is Satyam, for them there is moksha, tasya tavadeva chiram iti moksha upadeshat. So one who has this conviction that Sat is Satyam, Sat is Atma, Atma is Satyam, one who has that conviction, he becomes liberated. And therefore it must be true knowledge and not false knowledge. Says the Tika in line 22, Tasya sadatmatva jnana yavad dehepato na bhavati tasya tavadeva shiram. So, yavanna vimokshe atha sampatsye. That vakya is explaining tasya sadatmatva. Tasya means what? Sadatmatva jnana. The one who has known Sat as Atma. So Jagat Atma, Jagat Adhisthana is Sat, is known as Atma, means I am the Atma of the Jagat. When is Sat Asmi, I am Sat. What is Sat? Sat is the material cause of the Atma of the entire universe. See, material cause is Atma. Like clay is the Atma of the pot, etc. If Sat is the material cause of the universe, it is the Atma of the universe. So I am the Sat of the whole universe. That's the knowledge. Iti tasya. Of that one who knows Sat is the Atma, Tavadeva Chiram, Yavad Dehepato Nibhavati, Tavadeva Chiram means Vilambaha. He has to wait. Before he primarily becomes one with Sat, he has to wait until his body is. Tadanantaram Sata Sampadyate Tasya Tavadeva Chiram Yavanna Vimokshe Atha Sampatsye. And then Sata, with Sat, Sampadyate, he becomes one with Sat. It is Shrutayata. It is Moksha. So what is this Sat Satya Abhisandasya? So says the Tikakara, Tada Parashudushtandena Satya Abhisandasya Moksha Upadeshadabi Sadatmatvam No Upacharita Vidarshayitum Sat Satya Abhisandasya Visheshanam. So later on we'll see in this chapter itself, an example is given that in the village, some people saw for judgment, some people brought a man, they caught him. So there is a panchayat, and then before that this case is brought. It says this fellow has committed theft. Now how do you decide whether that fellow has not committed theft? So how do you decide whether he is right or not? So for that, they would have this test, Tapta Parashu. So, this, what is Parashu? Parashu means the axe. Tapta Parashu, they'll heat an axe. The axe will be heated in the fire, it will become red hot. And that fellow will be asked to hold it. Just come on, hold this. The idea was, if he is true, if he is right, then that will not burn him. If he is wrong, it will burn him. So that's the test. So, Satyas Abhisandasya. If that person is the conviction of right is right, then Tapta Parshu also will not burn him. Similarly also, that I am Atma is right. If that conviction is right, then he gets liberated. So tada Parshudushtantena Satyabhisandasya Mokshopadeshat. So the person who has a conviction that is right, even if he touches that Parshu, does not get burned, he is liberated. He is released. In here also, the one with the conviction that I am Sat is also liberated. Therefore, So since that person is right and liberated, this person also is right and liberated, who says, I am Sat. Never, it must be true knowledge. Never Sat must be Atma and not a Upachara. Mukhya mokshe samyak jnanam hetu eti tapta parshu drishtantena uchyate. There is dha in there, but should not be there. Tapta parshu drishtantena uchyate. Mukhya mokshe samyak jnanam hetuhu. So tapta parshu drishtanta. That heated X is the drishtanta, that if you are right, you are liberated. If you are wrong, you are punished. Here also this fellow is liberated. Who is liberated? Who says, I am Sat, is liberated. When can it happen? Only when it is right, not otherwise. So I am Sat must be right, must be yathartha jnanam. So Sat must be Atma. Sat sampatti rupa mokshastu pradhana so okay, now, so tat parsudashtandana uchyate. Okay, up to that point. Alright, we'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. After this discussion, we will take up Brahma Sutra. Before we go to the next Khanda, so when this Dvitiya Khanda is over, then we will go to Brahma Sutra. See, if you go back to this pages, go to page 216, footnote 1. From there, so many Brahma Sutras are there, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, continues. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you know. They are all in line actually. 1, 3, 1, no, 2, 3, 1 to 2, 3, 10, 13, 14, all of this. So 2, 3, 13. And then 2, 1, 4. So first we'll go to 2, 3, then we'll go to 2, 1. Meaning Brahma Sutra, second chapter, third quarter. So, you should bring it with you tomorrow. Brahma Sutra, second chapter, third quarter. So 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1 to 2, 3, 13. This is what we'll do. So you bring that book with you, okay? All right.